7-10. That's 27 unanswered for the Commanders, who improved to 3-2. The Chargers, back-to-back L's. Got to get something sorted. Quick thoughts here with the guys on Washington and LA. Mac, this was a Chargers team that looked like they led with the jab, 10-0 early in this game, thought that they could control it, but then Jayden Daniels comes to life. The offense goes stagnant for LA. Some issues continue to pop up for Justin Herbert. How do you measure these two up after this one, knowing what the Chargers were capable of early and then all that they lacked throughout?
Well, let's start the Commanders first. Big time win for them. Getting their star quarterback back. They were going through some adverse situations, clearly not having Jayden Daniels, wasn't clicking on either side of the football field. This was a big moment for them on the road against the Chargers. As you mentioned, Joe, they lost last week, so they were trying to bounce back as well, and they took care of the business. I really believe the Commanders, they're a playoff caliber team. They have to stay healthy. Now let's transition to the home team. I was really surprised when I looked at the miscues that we saw from the Chargers. When you talk about a Coach Harbaugh-led team, you usually see smart football for 4 quarters, hard, smart football. Right before halftime, you talked about that Ladd McConkey touchdown that was called back. That's a 10-point swing because that took 7 points off the board for the Chargers, and because of that big-time throw by Jayden Daniels, they were able to put 3 points on the board right before halftime. And our very own Patrick Peterson gave us a stat. Teams that score right before halftime, there's a 75% chance you're going to win the ball game. Guess what? They won the ball game. Out of half, they got the football and drove down and scored again. So you look at the miscue, Quentin Johnston's fumble. That led to an opportunity for points as well for the Commanders. So just untimely miscues, something that we haven't seen associated with this version of Charger football that led to their big-time loss on the road by the Commanders.
There was a sequence prior. Johnston hits a big crosser. Herbert to Johnston, called back on a penalty. Next play, Keenan Allen up the sideline, called back on a penalty. How much do you point to the inefficiency, and how much do you point to a team that's dealing with attrition of their own? This offensive line is beat up in front of Justin Herbert.
Well, it certainly is, but I think that we probably should credit the Washington Commanders defense on this one. Von Miller was an offseason acquisition, and everybody said, all right, 36-year-old Von Miller, whatever. He had a sack and a half today. Dorrance Armstrong had 2 there. They affect the football there in the red zone with, 7 or so minutes left. When Justin Herbert, the Justin Herbert that we have seen, we had the MVP conversation earlier. 2 weeks ago, we were talking about Justin Herbert potentially as the leading MVP candidate. This is supposed to be a touchdown pass there. They tip the ball. Mikey Sandstro gets the interception. And so I thought this was a really solid performance by the Washington Commanders defense, that Jayden Daniels didn't have to do too much. We know that he's coming back. He has that knee brace, so he's not going to be the dual threat that he will be in a couple of weeks as the knee continues to heal. The defense needed to step up on the road, and they did so.
Ben, it's a Washington team that leaned into the rushing ability in the absence of their quarterback. We know he's a +1 in that run game. I'm not sure how much they want to put him in harm's way yet with that knee, but what did you make of Daniels in his return, 15 of 26, 231 in the touchdown?
Well, first and foremost, let's not underestimate just how important him being on the field is for this team, right? Regardless of how he played, regardless of how he looked, it's been a couple weeks, he had a knee injury. Just the fact of him being out there alone gives this team an energy boost, gives this team a feeling of, all right, we got our guy back out there. We've got a chance today. Let's go and play some ball. But you saw the complimentary side of things today. Deebo Samuel got going, almost 100 yards and a touchdown. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, the rookie, is doing an unbelievable job for this offense, running, passing. So they seem to have unlocked something a little bit. And as Jayden Daniels continues to come back from this injury, you would expect this offense and himself to get more and more comfortable as these weeks go on.
Another entrant into the NFC sweepstakes. Washington coming up with a big road win in L.A. A look at some Daniels numbers. Double-digit comebacks since 2000. Daniels now with 3. This one the most recent. Again, 27 unanswered for Washington after going down 10-0. Close as the final score even indicated, 37-24. Some garbage time touchdowns for Jamar Chase. Happy if you're a fantasy manager, but not much room for happiness currently in Cincinnati. Back in studio with the guys, plenty to pick at on both sides of this one, and oftentimes we lead with the winner, but I feel like broader strokes can be made on the loser here. When you look at Jake Browning's play, found some stuff in the second half, maybe not the reclamation of the fourth quarter that we saw from Cam Ward, but where are the inefficiencies that continue to plague him?
the Bengals offense, they've just started really, really slow the last 2 weeks. Last week against the Broncos, today against the Lions, they got behind the chains, some self-inflicted penalties, whatever it may be. Jake Browning, just speed up your process a little bit, take completions earlier in the game, give your offense a chance to stay on the field. They're undermanned on defense a little bit. Feels like they're reeling a little bit on offense. So for him, play with inside yourself. Not every play needs to be a home run ball, right? It's the NFL. Sometimes the best thing is just taking a completion, letting your guys go make plays for you. So I think this Bengals offense, this Bengals team just in general needs to start a little bit quicker coming out the gates.
JJ, I only pose it that way because we talked about the fourth quarter performance for the Titans, maybe taking some heat off of Coach Callahan. The second half, fourth quarter performance here for Jake Browning, does it take any heat off of those questioning why he's currently QB1 in Cincinnati? And if not Browning, where might they be looking?
I think the questions are going to have to continue. I don't think there's any doubt about it because truly, even though the final score indicated that the Cincinnati Bengals could have made a game of this, they did not. The Detroit Lions, who we all could see in the NFC Conference Championship game, if not the Super Bowl, were in complete control of this game, in large part because there wasn't good quarterback play on the other side. Too little, too late, of course. And so what do the Cincinnati Bengals do? I reported over the weekend there have been no calls on Russell Wilson with the New York Giants or Kirk Cousins with the Atlanta Falcons. The Cincinnati Bengals are, without question, comfortable moving forward with Jake Browning. They also have Mike White and Sean Clifford on their roster. It's not going to be enough. You're not going to be able to stay afloat in this NFL until mid-December. That's the earliest, really, that Joe Burrow can come back with Jake Browning. That what they believe, Cincinnati believes, is that they're going to get the Jake Browning from 2 years ago that won them a few games while Joe Burrow was out. I think that Jake Browning is not there. The NFL is not going to allow, the defenses aren't going to allow for him to get those victories. And he is making too many mistakes, as Ben has pointed out. And so what's next for Cincinnati? They could get Russell Wilson. He's owed about $1.5 million, and you'd have to give up a day 3 draft pick. It does not appear that they have any interest in doing that. Now, I'm not saying that Russell Wilson's a savior, B-Mac. Yeah. I'm not at all saying that he's going to replace Joe Burrow or anything. But even if you just got to go 500 and hope that maybe you got 6.5 wins by the time you get to mid-December, and you can make it to the playoffs with 8.5, 9 wins, they're not going to be there so long as they have Jake Browning quarterback.
And that was the company line after the Burrow injury, is just go 500, however deep that needs to take you till Burrow is ready, right at the precipice of playoff football. But there's no 500 football in this version of the Cincinnati Bengals led by Jake Browning. Mac, he does find some stuff as he targets downfield Jamar Chase, but he also finds 3 interceptions targeting Jamar Chase downfield. So instead, I want to take you to the Detroit Lions, who continue to lead the league in scoring to this point. David Montgomery, one with the arm, one on the ground. Sam Laporta starting to get going. Are you seeing this offense continue to evolve into what we expect it to be? I mean, numbers, no matter how they roll it out there, but this feels like another step forward.
Yeah, I think this is the funnest offense to watch as a fan. They have so many toys that can get going at any given time, and I love their ability to equally get everyone their share. I'm just waiting on Jameson Williams to show up as well. And we know once he gets involved, good luck in trying to slow this offense down. We knew this would be a really, really good year for Detroit. I think the biggest concerning thing with this team was, what will this offense look like without Ben Johnson? Week 1, it was a bit sketchy, but now they have found their rhythm, and Jared Goff is wheeling and dealing, and they have so many riches surrounding Jared Goff. It makes his life that much easier. So they're the cream of the crop in the NFC, and I say that with confidence because they're playing some really good football, and any concern or question that all of us have had, they've answered them so far.
Resounding answers after that loss to start the season against the Green Bay Packers. Looking forward to getting those two on a field again later in the season. I'm glad you brought up Jared Goff because he was second in the NFL coming into this week, completing 74% of his passes. He goes 19 of 23 here. The efficiency in which he's running this offense, that isn't necessarily dink and dunk. What level of skill has that required from Goff to this point?
I think as a fan, people have almost just become numb to Jared Goff going out and doing this every single week. The efficiency that he plays with,